Alright, I'm going to create a video on how to troubleshoot a Yamaha RX-V483 receiver not turning on. I always wanted to make an instructional video, and my 10-year-old was giving me shit for not having many videos on my YouTube channel, so here we go. So what happened is we come back from holidays and the thing just didn't work. You press the button and it just sits there flashing that light. So with the flashing the light, I figure, well, that's obviously some sort of code for something, so I tried to Google. And when I Google this, the first thing I learned is it has a diagnostic mode. So to get diagnostic mode, you've got to hold down tone control and the info button, and then hit power. And then, oops, sorry, got to hold that on. It's hard to do with one hand in a video. Yep, and then it gives you a code, PS1 PRT 127. So that's the key. So then obviously I went and Googled that one up, and there was a whole bunch of articles saying, oh yeah, this is common as, there's a capacitor inside called C405 that you got to change out. It's apparently a 22 nanofarad green cap. So I thought, cool, I'll start with that, because that's what, there was about 10 articles saying that's what the problem is. So I'll just turn this power off so that we can go inside, and I'll show you about these capacitors. Alright, so I've got the lid off now. What I forgot to mention before is that all these YouTube videos that talk about the capacitors, they're all wrong. So that's why I decided to make my own video, because it doesn't work for this machine. So C405 capacitor, you know, it's on here somewhere. I went to have a look for it, and lo and behold, it doesn't exist. All you've got is this little blue one here. That is C4, what is it? 5405. And there was this one here, which is 5404. So I managed to find the service manual for this thing, which is pretty useful. So because it shows it's got everything in it. So there's like a little drawing of the PCBs. There's definitely no C405 anywhere in this thing. There was just those two, and I mean what they are, if you look at them, the 5405 is just in the series around the relay, so it's just like an arc suppression thing. I'm like, how the hell is that going to fix anything? And the other one's down here on like the 5-volt power supply, but anyway, these are the ones that I think are closest to that 405, even though they've got different specs. So the blue one, I desoldered that and checked it, and it was 7 nanofarads against 10. I thought, oh, that's close enough. I can't see how it's this, so I soldered it back on. The other one over here, which is this yellow one, I've already swapped this one out. So what it was this black one here. It's a 22 nanofarad. X2 rated, which is just to do with some sort of, so you don't electrocute yourself when you put it on, so you have to get another X2. So I swapped that one out because this one was only reading 0.1 microfarads instead of 0.22. So I thought, oh well, I'll change it out anyway. So I put the new one on, and then plug that back in because I've got the new one on. And does it work now? No. Yep, so it's doing different to before because I'd reset it. So it'll do that 3 times and then it goes back to just that flashy light again. It's going to do the same thing, holding down those buttons. Yep, so get the same code. So obviously those capacitors did not do anything, which is what I expected. So the next step was digging through the manual a bit more to work out exactly what that code means. Now before I swap across to that, you can scroll through this menu. I can't remember where to get to. Oh, there we go. So this is giving me there's a PS1, a PS2, a PS3. This is giving me the numbers. And I'll explain what all that means in a minute. One thing I just want to mention is, obviously I've got the power on, I've got the box off. You want to be a little bit careful what you touch, because that little fuse there, for example, is live. So if I was to touch that with my finger, I'd get a bit of a tickle and have to go reset the power to the house. Or if it wasn't on an RCD circle, I'd probably get a big tickle and then have to go restart my heart. So you just want to be a little bit careful what you're touching in here. Yep, so the service manual here explains what those PS1, 2 and 3 numbers mean and what the range that they have to be in. And what it basically is, there's a bunch of voltage dividers that are checking the voltage in all these different spots on the circuit, and it comes back to a particular pin on the PCB and gives a count between 0 and 255. What that combined voltage is. And so looking at the healthy range there, it's not just PS1 that's out on mine. Mine was reading 127, it needs to be less than 118, but my PS2 was also out of range there. And so that list on the top there shows you what the circuits are that it's checking. So I figure I've got to find all them on all the PCBs, which is pretty easy with the manual, and then just check all these voltages and see if there's one that's out. So I did do that, and what I found is on operation 4, there's two little 12-volt regulators, a -12 and a +12. That's them on the circuit diagram. I should be able to show these a bit better in the final video, hopefully. But the one that gives -12 is giving -1, and that's it, just in there, the two of them. The easiest way to read the voltage is just getting the multimeter onto the little onto these little links here, and if you look at the drawing, you can work out which one's like the input and output. It's a lot easier than trying to get it on the actual terminals and shorting it out and stuff. But I had one of them reading -1 on the output, and if I disconnected everything from this card so there was no outputs at all, then it went to -2. So it doesn't seem like there's a downstream short that's sort of pulling it down. It just seems like it's stuffed. So what I've done is I've managed to buy one of them online here, $1.50 and $10 postage, and I'm going to try and swap that out, and hopefully that fixes the problem. One thing I did do is I worked out exactly how all these voltage divider stuff worked, and I managed to build a little simulation in Excel, or a little calculation, where this -12, if you put in all the correct voltages and calculate the the current and voltage and everything, then I get 163 should be the normal count for, this is for PS2. And with that -1, the calculation I get is 207. I think that's pretty close to what I was reading. Same as PS1. So going back to that drawing of the from the manual, where I said I've got PS1 and PS2 out, the circuit that I think is dead is this one here, the -12 volts. So my fault's on PS2, but it also shows up on PS1 because that -12 volts feeds the plus and minus 7 volts there. And obviously this thing can only report one error at a time, so it says PS1 because that's first, but it's actually both. So hopefully it is just this piece and we swap it out and it works. I'm not going to film myself doing that because I can't solder and hold a camera in one hand, so I'll swap this out and see how we go from there. So yeah, getting this board out wasn't super straightforward. There's just 2 screws on top, there and there, but there was also 2 on the side. One that you can see there, and the other was the little cover for the heatsink. Now I've got one of these screwdrivers, which is, oh, there we go, for screwing sideways, and that was really useful. Otherwise I think you need to take all that board and stuff out, which would be a bit of a pain in the bum. So now that I've got that off, I'm just got to get that right hand side one there off. They're actually different, they're not the same, but that's all on the service manual. So got my soldering iron and my solder sucker. I'll try and swap that out. It's not my proudest soldering, but it's on there. Now I've just got to put some thermal grease back on these things so they can stay nice and cool. And now I can stick that thing back on. Alright, so I've got that back in now, and now comes the moment of truth. Oh, it looks good. It's working. Fixed. So I think I need to go plug it in and make sure it's making noise and everything, but it seems to be good. Let me just start it up in that diagnostic mode, and I'll just no protect. That's always a good sign. I'll just find that setting. Yep, and there we go. That's our diagnostic numbers that are correct. So I'm pretty sure this has fixed the problem. I'm pretty happy because that was about $800 piece of equipment that I've fixed with a $1.50 part. Sweet. So I've plugged it in and it works. In the end, it was just this little piece here is all that was wrong, so a $1.50 piece. Fix the whole thing. Don't be scared to have a go, otherwise just going to chuck it in the bin anyway. So let me know if it helps you out. See ya.